like being able to delete movies like Warner Brothers
Yeah.
does is just
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, unlike
Well,
Disney, they never
I'll
delete a
start off
movie.
by giving my final thoughts.
Yeah.
I think it's a combination of everything. I think the streaming strategy Joe is very passionate about is important to have and I think there are some movies that should just go straight to streaming though. I think you have to have a streaming and a theatrical for these companies to survive. I don't think it's one or the other. I do think the culture war, even if you think it's warranted or not, it is a factor. And these people that have issues with the culture war stuff, they see it in these movies, even if it's very small, and it is starting to impact box office as much as like even piracy. I mean, that's a separate thing. I'm not even getting into that.
Well,
And then third, you got to, and we're going to get to everyone. We'll go with you next, CJH. And third, it has to feel like you're Joe's saying the cinema or the score is good, but these I would say like 80-85% and above are the ones that are making money. Most of them, it has to be really good, fresh, really good cinema score, A and A plus or A minus at the very least. These have to be really high quality. And it's all subjective. I know Joe's like some of these movies are good and they're not making money. A lot of people don't. A lot of general audiences don't think they're good though,
and a lot of that's meme culture.
I don't think it's just. I
That
don't
is not-
think we should
wait,
make
how
is it meme
excuses.
culture? How is
Joe,
it
don't.
that is not right.
you
Okay, so
you
there-
are taking meme
participate
culture.
in meme culture
It's
though.
true, you
Whenever
know
you-
it.
Joe,
those
you
are my-
partake in meme
those-
culture.
I think
My
it's-
poor
I think
things
it's
to
all-
that Jesse Girl song is meme culture.
I think there's a lot of factors there. So that's my final thoughts. Who wants to go next? CJH, you were going to say something. Then we'll get Joe, Perp. What do
Yeah,
you
I
think's
think
real?
the culture war has become mainstream now. Unfortunately,
I think it's having.
I
some
think
impact.
it's starting. Like you ask a regular average Joe, but not that I didn't mean that Joe, but no, an average person. I think it's starting to get to people. I think.
Yeah, once people point at this, then you sort of like something you look for, and then once you see it, then it's gonna.
Yeah.
It doesn't bother me, but
I think
the fact,
the loud voices have definitely gotten worse. I think when it comes to culture war.
I don't think
And,
it's just a minority. I think a lot of people see this.
Yeah,
stuff,
I
even
think a
if you
few
haven't-
years ago the culture war was small and it was barely anything, but I think now, as of this year, it's probably worse.
Okay. Does anyone else want to go? And Joe, do you want to go next?
I just have
And
a question for
Okay.
Joe by what he means that meme culture is hurting movies, like
Okay.
with the general audience.
I mean that when
Because-
you can
just real
take a
quick, though,
movie.
real quick though, before you answer, like because
Wait,
just really quick,
wait.
just really quick.
Was it
That must be
because
like
of his
dissertation.
experience with those
Let
movies
RJ
where
let RJ
people
finish
wouldn't
that.
stop talking at the movies?
No, I'm talking about like internet culture, because if we're under the assumption that meme culture and internet culture is impacting the general audience, then we're basically admitting that the culture war
Yes,
is impacting the general audiences because that's mostly internet.
that's internet culture and meme culture. Yeah,
Yes.
the
That's-
culture war
that's
and meme
different.
culture are
That's
both
different.
part of the
and,
internet.
and the other
That's a
and the other
different
part of
thing.
that though is so you're saying that the general audience is terminally online and they see this stuff?
I
Or do they
think
not care?
that when you can take a movie and boil it down to the internet is at a point now where they're making their decisions before they've ever seen a movie. A perfect example is The Flash. The Flash had not opened yet.
That's
The Flash, before we had even had trailers, people online were going, Flash is going to suck. Flash is going to suck. Flash is going to suck. And then we kept getting word out. Hey, you know what? Word is it's really good. People who've seen it are saying it's really good. Nope, they're lying. They're lying. And the internet had basically made their mind up. This movie is shit. And nobody had seen it. Then the movie came out. And lo and behold, those same people, and we know they didn't go see it because we saw the box office results, are going, see, bombed, wasn't good. And it's like, you didn't even see it. I know you didn't see it because I can see the box office results. Very few people went to see it. So that is a perfect example of the internet just making their mind up and destroying a film before they've ever seen it. We've now seen it with Madam Web as well. We've seen it with a bunch of movies.
The quality's not gonna. but if the movie was quality enough, that's not going to be a fact. It's not going to.
Yeah, but it is. It is because
That's subjective,
no,
Joe.
no, that's bullshit. Because when the movie doesn't make any money, that means nobody went to see it. If nobody went to see it, they don't know if the quality is there because they didn't see it. You need to see it to know if the quality is there.
all
if
right,
you
I
didn't
understand.
see
Well,
it, you
I-
can't
I
even
go
tell
next.
if
I get
the
what it
quality
is.
was
wait.
there.
I go
I
next.
Perp
I
wants
have
to go.
a quick
Perp wants to
question though.
Lord.
Like, do you think the studio should start like charging or like
LARPing.
doing like lawsuits against some of
Yes.
these grifters and stuff?
No.
No,
On-
because then you get into a free speech
No,
battle.
but then
The
they can
hell?
pull their ads.
Oh, get a
YouTube.
bottle. No.
They can
No,
pull
no, I
ads,
mean
and
the fact that
We're not
they're
gonna see
hurting
Nicole
their
Kidman
brand.
Here's
ad.
the thing: when
on
you
YouTube?
hold
Never.
on, when you turn something into a martyr, you're just gonna like cause it to be even worse. You don't martyr anybody. Like it's just gonna confound the
But
issue.
it could
Don't
be
martyr
damaging their
people.
brand.
Especially
They
if you've
might
seen the
have
movie
a
Martyrs.
lawsuit
Don't martyr
there,
people.
right?
All right. Well, Perp wanted to say, go ahead, Perp.
Okay. I think the culture war, for the most part, isn't as mainstream as people think it is. I think sometimes you're going to see that it seems like the general public is going with it. Like they happen to sway that side. Sometimes they're not. But for the most part, when you have something like the Oscars, once again, which I like to bring up, is the top ratings for 4 years. Like that is the prime example of what the woke culture would be against. But to have it actually be boosted in ratings, I think kind of gives me like, okay, sometimes it's just like the general public doesn't give a crap about any of that stuff. Like, in terms of meme culture, I think everyone's like, I think Joe, I think you're conflating like what people did with the anti-channels, which is just hating on a movie. I think that's not meme culture. That's like they're doing it with their own agenda.
Well, I hear
Versus
you,
like
but let me-
meme culture, I think is like finding something funny for the most part, and spreading that.
Okay, you hit the nail on the head. Most memes are meant to be funny. Most memes are meant to be a joke.
Yes.
So when people find something within a movie, and it's especially damaging when it's a movie that hasn't been released yet because the public hasn't seen it and they don't know what it is. And it's very hard once the internet has made up their mind to change their mind. And if you can put something out there and boil it down to a meme, and then everyone goes, oh, that's that thing we're laughing at, then they're not going to take it seriously. And you don't know if it's good, you don't know if it's bad. Now, occasionally you'll get on the right side of the meme like Barbenheimer. But very often, even the whole Gentle Minions thing, that was annoying as hell because I was in the theater. Those people were pissing me off. But it worked to the movie's advantage for the box office. But those are few and far between. More often than not, it's let's laugh at this thing. And then that's not helpful to the movie. If people think this
Well,
was
okay,
a
Joe,
joke-
when I played the Poor Things clip of Jesse's girl to Emma Stone dancing, you were laughing at it.
well, yeah.
So
You know what?
But
I would-
was that a negative laugh? Like you were hating on the movie?
Okay, number one, that was a movie that has been out for months that we've all already seen, and that wasn't a negative thing,
Yeah,
That
but it was a meme.
right?
You know,
but
We were partaking in meme culture.
I would kind of argue
And I think
that
it could be seen
I
as
don't
positive,
think
like which you cited an example where it could be positive, Barbenheimer.
yeah, but more often it's negative.
I would argue that I don't think it's meme culture that's hurting it. I think it's spoiler culture. We find out about what's going on in upcoming movies before it's even out.
No, that's definitely a problem. I mean, here,
That's
this is
definitely
my
your own
last
fault.
statement because I know we
I
want
think
to
they're
move
all
on.
problems.
This is going to be my last statement just in regards to this topic so we can move on because I know you probably want to move on, guys. If we're saying that the internet is impacting movies, then we have to admit then the next logical step is that the culture war is impacting entertainment then because it's mainly being fought on the internet. And like most of the hateful stuff is technically part of that. So,
I'll
I
tell
don't
you
know.
why. I'll tell you why I disagree with that, though,
But
because of the culture in general. Let me give you my daughter, for example. My daughter's in high school. in her high school class, do you know the number of like non-binary students she goes to school with, or the number of LGBT students she goes with? I mean, I grew up in the 90s and it was like that. But now it's like that. Society has accepted these things. And we see it. We see it every day. We see it when we go out on the street and go to Target and go to the supermarket. We see that the world has accepted these things. But then you hear a few people on Twitter complaining about it. They're clearly the minority. They're clearly the minority because when you go in the world, you see that the world doesn't have a problem with it.
Well, no, I get what you're
Those
saying,
are
Joe,
people
but
in
if you look
school,
again,
the
I'm not trying to turn this
generation
political, but
take
if
it.
you look at legislation and you look at like the political scene right now, they are pushing back against what they prescribe as that sort of thing, and they are pushing back against what they perceive as wokeness in schools, in
Yeah, but
businesses,
it's
in
not
all of this.
consistent though, because like wasn't Super Mario supposed to be
Depends
woke
where
as
you go
Princess
to
Peach?
school,
Like that's
too.
what I'm saying. As long it's always gonna break through if they
And
want.
trust
Like
me,
even,
as someone
even they
who,
will lie to themselves saying it's not woke and it
I'm
is.
just
Like,
saying,
They
that
play both.
inconsistency.
I'm
It's
just saying,
because
though,
of that
someone who studied
inconsistency
to
that
be an
it'll never
educator,
fully take hold.
trust me, we are under the political scrutiny 24/7, and it is a tough battle that's being fought.
I understand that.
Everything's politicized right now.
I understand that,
Everything.
but things will always break through. That's what I'm saying. Like
No,
there's
I-
always gonna be Super Mario, Barbie, all this stuff. Like,
You're
it
right.
doesn't matter.
Super Mario is a perfect example. Like you saw
Yes.
those guys, those culture war channels. They try to play both sides because they looked at the Mario trailer and they
Yeah.
were like, "Oh, I don't know, Princess Peach looks
Doesn't mean
like
they're winning because they got
And that
Mario.
movie made a billion.
and it's basically let me get in on both sides of the fence here, so that whichever way the public goes with this movie, I'm on the right side. You put like, I mean, we saw it with Indiana Jones too, when he was when that asshole in the mask was like, "Oh, they changed the ending because I leaked it." No, they didn't. But then when the ending he said was there wasn't there, he can go, see, I did it. They try to play
Well,
both
I mean,
sides.
figure drawing. You're saying, yeah, it's accepted in schools. I think it depends where you're at too, like city versus country, or rural or urban versus urban. I think there's different. I don't think everyone is completely accepting of it. I am. I'm fine with it. I'm just saying I don't.
I don't know.
I
So what do you think? What do you guys
it's like a
consider?
different world. It's like a different world. Sometimes you go within the same state, you go to certain parts of the state. It's like a different world.
Who won the culture war in terms of the Little Mermaid? Is that like a tie? The remake? Is that like a
I
tie?
think the Chuds won that one.
You
Sadly.
think they won that one?
The movie was a hit in the end, though.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think it's a tie, if anything.
but it struggled internationally. Did not make nearly as much as I think.
But how did the Chuds? That's what I'm saying. Okay, RJ. How do the Chuds get internationally? What do you mean, like internationally? That's what I'm saying. What happened internationally? People weren't interested in that movie, and that happened in America too.
Well,
Chuds don't have. Are you saying the Chuds have a pull internationally?
Well, they got heel,
or they just got lucky, or the Chuds just happened to get lucky. They were bitching about a movie that
I think they got lucky, to be honest.
Well, they got
different. That's what's happening.
Countries
That's
that
happening in
aren't
general.
progressive at all.
That's what's happening in general.
There's, if you're talking about worldwide box office, there's certain countries that aren't very progressive.
Joe was trying to respond to that.
Yeah, I said they got heel versus baby's ass and the critical stinker. Those are their international contingent.
Hey, I mean, they're talking to Piers Morgan and getting national platforming, so it's working for them.
Yeah, but he's a Chud himself.
Did you see the thing that was Jeremy made peace with Matt Walsh?
Of course he did.
Who's Matt Walsh?
Anyone have a final? Isaac wants to say something. Isaac. Oh, you have to unmute yourself, Isaac. I can't unmute you. I'm trying; it won't let me. Okay, go ahead.
So my thoughts on this, I think like Bob Iger said, like people just want good movies. And also, do you think that what happened with Indiana Jones and Dial of Destiny and why like that didn't do good at the box office was probably what happened with the last movie, like Kingdom of the Crystal Skull?
You mean, well, people
That was too far back. I don't
people
think people
think
even
King
remember.
into the Crystal Skull was less quality, whereas I think the general consensus was that this one was woke, because it had a lot to do with. I think that's the majority of at least what people are saying online.
Yeah, it had a woman in it, so
Yeah.
therefore it was woke.
No, that she was the main focus. They say the bait and switch.
Yeah, back in 1980, if
Yeah.
those guys were around, Raiders would have been woke because of Marion.
But I'm just saying,
Did-
like,
she
again,
did as
not-
much
again,
as
not-
India.
I mean,
again, not-
all,
again,
all the movies about Vietnam probably would
yeah,
have been.
and again, not to
woke.
get political, but like the mere existence of a certain type of person or a certain type of thing is decried as woke. I'm just saying everything in entertainment's politicized right now. That's why I think Disney is suffering, because they're at the epicenter of this culture war and this controversy.
Well, it might end at the end of
isn't their
the.
own making, though. Some of
It
it is their
might-
fault.
It might end next year after the elections, but who knows?
I'll throw one more little bit of food for thought at you. What was the most successful Marvel movie this year?
Guardians.
Guardians.
Was there any?
Yeah, Guardians 3.
No, that was last year. That was
Yeah,
last year.
Guess what?
It's
It was-
2024.
It was woke. It had an animal rights theme.
See, but everyone can
no.
agree that they love animals, though. So
But you saw, like, even in
Yeah, when
this
it comes
very
to
channel,
animals,
there was
people-
people here. There were guests that no longer show up. They would be here and like, oh, Guardians the poster. Look at that. I like women that look like women, not like how they looked in the poster. Remember that whole meme that was going around for Guardians for a while.
yeah, there was the controversy with the poster. I remember that.
Yeah, like people like
I heard they made her wear padding and
they
stuff.
try
in the
like that's the
first
thing,
one.
RJ. They throw so much crap in the wall. Sometimes it does stick. Like, but for the most part, it's like
Ray, first,
think it's
sorry, I have
not
to interrupt. Rhea, you did it wrong. You don't get a Shamrock Shake McFlurry. I don't know what that was, Abomination.
Oh, by the way, happy St. Patrick's Day, everybody.
She got a Shamrock Shake McFlurry. I didn't even know they made that. Did you tell them to make that? I've never seen a Shamrock
Does
Shake.
anyone
No,
here
they
Iron?
have that.